Hi, everybody. Welcome. My name is Marilyn Shannon, and this is the Breaking Free Show. And it is a delight to have you all here today, and I appreciate it so very much. And I know that your time is precious. So thank you for tuning in and being with us today because we're going to have a great show. It's going to be inspiring, it's going to be heartfelt, it's going to be full. We're using every bit of technology that we have because we have people coming in from everywhere. So we're really excited. So hold on to your seats because it's really interesting. So just before we get started, I want to say hi to Amnon.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm good, and you?
Just fine now.
Yeah. We're using every bit of technology we have that we can possibly use in this studio. So it has been fun, right? Is that
Right.
what, and he said, hold on, it's going to be fine. And I'm thinking,
It
thank you,
is
thank you,
fine.
it is fine.
Keep going.
I'm going.
Forget the
So you're
technical.
doing good? You had a good weekend?
Doing just great.
Great. All right. So today we're going to be talking to four beautiful people who have created a movie. And it's been something that the two of them have been working on for many, many days, a long time. They came together and they had a dream and they saw it to fruition. And we're going to be talking with them and finding out how they did it, what the movie is about, what the underlying conversation and story is about, because that is extremely moving, how they created this idea and what it really stands for. And for those of you that are tuning in for the first time, this is Breaking Free. And what this show talks about and what we want to accomplish is we want to help inspire as many individuals as possible, young, old, whoever it is, to experience their freedom, to be able to stretch, reach out there, do something maybe you never did before. Maybe see somebody who is doing something that you would like to try. And because you saw them here, heard them here, felt them here, you are inspired to do something similar or maybe just different, but something that you had never tried before. Maybe you're sitting on an idea that you have been wanting to try for your whole life. Maybe you want to go somewhere and it's been part of your bucket list. This is the show that wants to inspire you to be your fullest, greatest person you can possibly be. Have the most fulfilling human experience you possibly can have with not too many regrets. So remember, you can call in anytime you want at 919-518-9773, regardless of where you're calling from. You can come in on computers 2K voice if you like to as well and join in the show, ask questions, partake, whatever you like. We also have a chat that's live and ongoing. So if you would like to put your name underneath the video, nickname is great, and you can ask questions there. You can talk to the people that are in there, whatever you like. We'd love to have you. And along the way, if you're inspired to ask a question to any one of our guests, we would love to have you. Please feel free to do that. So, I want to introduce all of our delightful, wonderful people here today. So, we have Peter and Bianca. Hey there, how are you?
Hello, hi, we're great.
Hi.
Thank you for having us.
It's a pleasure. We're really happy to have you. And then we have Chelsea. Hey,
Hi,
Chelsea.
thank you so much for having me.
It's great. And then we have Ben on the phone. Hey, Ben.
Hey, how are you doing? Thanks a lot.
Good. How you doing?
I'm good.
Wonderful. Well, it's really great to have you all, and I'm going to ask you all just to share a little bit about who you are and what. And let's start with that. Just who you are, and we'll go from there, and then we'll get into the actual movie and how you started it and how you did something incredible. So let's start with Peter. Peter, tell us a little bit about who you are.
Yeah, sure, no problem. I grew up in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. It's a small town about an hour and a half from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Went to Millersville University for my undergraduate, which is actually where I met and became friends with the writer Ben. And then from there, moved to New York City to pursue a career in acting. And I am currently now about to begin my third year at the Actor Studio Drama School at Pace University. I'm working on my MFA, and my last year starts in about 2 weeks. So I'm very excited about that. But yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Cool. All right. Wonderful. Now we'll move on to Bianca. Bianca, who are you?
Hi, I am a actor, director, writer from Montreal, Quebec, in Canada, and I moved to New York 2 years ago to also study at the Actor Studio Drama School, and it's a little bit about me.
Okay, good. And then you, go ahead. Did you have something to say, Peter?
No.
Okay, good. All right, Chelsea. Who is Chelsea?
I am from Elko, Nevada, which is a really small town in northeastern Nevada, known for being the home of cowboy poetry, and that's about it. And I went to school in Las Vegas for acting, and then transitioned over to directing. I moved to LA for a little while, and then, like Peter and Bianca, 2 years ago, moved to New York City to get my master's in directing at the Actors Studio Drama School.
Wow. So I'm sitting here, and before we get to Ben, I just want to say that you probably are all living my dream. Honestly, and I'm seriously, I'm getting all choked up, and we haven't even started yet. Because I think my entire childhood and young adulthood, I wanted to be an actress. And my parents would have let me do anything, but I just didn't pursue it. And you are all young and beautiful and living my dream, and I am going to cry. So thank you for being here and making me cry. Ben, yeah, I mean, seriously, we'll get into it, but I think it's really cool because so many kids grow up. One thing kids do is grow up and they want to be a fireman, or they want to do this and they want to do that, or they want to act, or they want to do, and they don't necessarily do it. And here I've got 4 of you right here that are doing it. So hallelujah and thank you. So Ben, what about you?
Hi, I'm Ben, and Peter talked a little bit about my background. I graduated from Millersville, and currently I am a writer who resides in Lancaster. And believe it or not, I am a man of few words. And that's all they need to know.
All right, that's fine. Maybe you'll say a few more than a few here. We're happy to have you. So I'm going to go back to Peter, and I'm going to ask Peter just to give us a description of how you all got together and why you're together today.
Yeah, absolutely. Without being too long-winded, basically, I was at Millersville University as an English major, not theater-related at all, but I was always into, acting and doing the shows. And I was doing one show that Ben was actually stage managing at the little university theater there. It's a very, very small theater program, but Ben was stage managing, and we met, and something just clicked. I really, really liked his way of thinking, and I really liked his passion and his kind of outside of the box mentality. And we got a couple of drinks and started talking about how he's interested in writing, and eventually developed into a really great friendship. And one day he decided to write this play for this festival that took place in the summer at Millersville called the Four Corners Festival. Really cool. They have a lot of Shakespeare that happens, a lot of arts things that kind of go on this whole weekend festival. And we were allowed to stage a 40-minute play. So Ben wrote it, and it was called Two Turtle Doves in a White Motel, which I was in, and Ben wrote and directed. We put it on, and afterwards we both kind of had the sense that it had more of a screenplay vibe to it. It was just the way that the dialogue was, and the way that the characters interacted would be really great to capture in an intimate setting like film on camera. But we kind of had no direction with it, nowhere to go, and no idea how to really do that. And also no equipment and no knowledge whatsoever when it comes to filming things. So fast forward 2 years later, when I get into the actor studio, I met Bianca in my first year, Chelsea in my first year, our DP Shashwat in our first year. And then it was the summer in between first and second year. I was sitting on my porch in Lancaster, and I was really bored because school was over and I had, kind of nothing to do. So I was really antsy to do something. So I called up Ben, and I was like, Ben, we need to do something. And we had talked about I talked about maybe doing a web series. Ben said, no, what about Two Turtle Doves? We always talk about doing that. I said, that's a fantastic idea. So I immediately called up Josh and asked if he wanted to film it. And he said, yeah. Then I called Bianca, and she was really, really drawn to the character of Rebecca, which I'm sure she'll get into. And she was like, I really want to play Rebecca. We're like, absolutely. And then she in turn contacted Chelsea to direct it. And then over the past, I guess, year and a half or so, we've been developing it, trying to sneak in rehearsals here and there in between classes, and then really hitting the ground this summer. We also started crowdfunding this summer, and we crowdfunded and met our goal. And then we began shooting on August 1st, and we wrapped on the 19th. And now we are officially halfway done. But yeah, I hope that wasn't too long-winded.
No, that was great.
That's pretty much how it happened.
That's great. I have lots of questions, so hold on just a minute. But I do want to tell Chelsea that Sin, your Nana, is in the chat, and I've invited her to call in. So Nana, if you want to call, how do you say her name?
Nana Cynthia.
Nana Cynthia.
Yeah.
Nana Cynthia, if you would like to call in, we would love to have you call in and say hi. You can call in to 919-518-9773. It would be lovely if you'd like to do that. We'd love to have you. So please feel free. So Peter, so that was great. I appreciate that. So I guess so I have a lot of things that I'm curious about. So I'm curious to know why, let's say, like Bianca, why did you feel like this was a movie or a project you wanted to be involved with?
When I read the script for the first time last summer, it wasn't, it has evolved a lot over the last year, but when I first read it, there was something about Rebecca, who's the character that I play, that really drew me to her. I guess because the story's a love story, but it's not your typical love story where you have, like, I don't know, this man and this woman, and by happy circumstance they end up together. It's more of an unraveling, and there's this unapologetic nature that she has, that she does everything she does without fear for any consequences. And I think that was really exciting for me, and I really I jumped at the chance to do something like that. It was terrifying to even ask, like, do you think I could do this? But I'm really glad that I did, because my first read of it, and even though it had changed so much, I'm glad that my instincts were right, because it was an amazing experience.
That's great. Go ahead. Somebody have something to say? Okay. So that was great. Thank you for that. And Chelsea, what about you? Why did you want to get involved?
Well, initially for me, before I had read the script, I had worked with Peter and Bianca before. We were working on a play last summer, and Bianca was helping me on the directing side, and Peter was an actor in the play, and that relationship was so strong and just worked so well. We just kind of, we're all in tune with each other and worked together quite well. So when they gave me this script, I was, immediately, of course, really excited to read it, and then I read the script. And it was unlike anything I've ever read for film before. And, also for me, I'm more of a theater director, so just wanting the opportunity to direct film and to learn in kind of a safe environment with some of my closest friends and collaborators was really exciting to me. But I had read the script, and as Peter said, it did start as a play, so it kind of had this theatrical quality that I loved about it, yet it was so... yet it was so under the surface and had so much, to kind of dig into and try to unearth. And Peter used the word intimate, which I think is really, really great. Sort of journey to try to capture on film. And so I was up for the challenge. I felt the story was strong enough, and the people I absolutely love working with. And so I was immediately just kind of determined to help make it happen and to help bring it to life with these people.
Great. That's great. Mm-hmm. So you've all answered great questions, and you've all taken us to this next piece. which is going to be Ben. Ben,
Yes,
man of few words, right?
correct.
So it's funny because you said you're a man of few words, and Peter said, "I hope I didn't say too much." So
Yeah,
he's a man of a lot of words, and you're the man of few words.
I write them down.
You write them down, okay? So I want to ask you, just give us a little scenario, a little summary of what this movie is really about.
For me,
Yes.
well, it's funny. I want to briefly touch upon Peter talking about the original, the Two Turtle Doves in a White Motel, because I recently went back and looked at it, and it has changed almost 90%. And I think the potential of it was always there, but it took, me maturing and finding myself as a writer to really flesh out the important things in it. And one of the most important things about it is capturing the landscape and this person and how he evolves in that story. Because for me, it's always about this one guy in this place that he can't get out of. It becomes the trap. And the story for me is about a person trying to find himself out of an impossible trap.
So that's interesting that you would start off saying about how you evolved, and then
Yeah.
of course how this evolved. So is there a deep thread for you that this is part of your story, or is this just part of everybody's story?
No, I think absolutely there's a lot of my own story in this. Growing up in this area, I know what it feels like to sort of be isolated in a spot that is so rural, but then has so much infrastructure around it. And I think that was the key that we wanted to play with this story, is that you can feel alone while being surrounded by, not just cornfields, but buildings and city life as well. So the juxtaposition between what Lancaster County is versus what Lancaster City is and the people who reside in it, I think was an important tale to tell.
So it's because it does mirror life, right? In all aspects. I mean, we can be, surrounded by whole kind of things, but if we can't get out of ourselves.
Yeah.
So tell everyone about Lancaster, because that's a big part. It's not just a love story, but it's this kind of love story, and then where you come from, and that's very connected. So why don't you share a little bit about Lancaster, so our audience has an idea of what you went through, or what you might have thought you were going through.
Absolutely, yeah. I've always had great experiences with the city. I grew up in a very rural part of the county, Washington Borough, actually right on the Susquehanna River. So I grew up in a more rural area, and as I got older, I started going into Lancaster and seeing, what was around. Because for a while, nothing was around but stretches of cornfields and nice suburban homes. And then we started realizing, there's a whole city, there's a whole life inside of this little pocket. And it's a beautiful little town that you drive through it, and you're in the corn, then you're in the city, then you're back in the corn, and you could pass it with a blink of the eye. So I think getting people to see that there is stuff, there's places to go, there's people to see. I met the most interesting people here in Lancaster. I lived in Philadelphia for a year and a half, and every day I was thinking about coming back to Lancaster.
Well, can I interrupt you a second? Why does Why would it matter to me about Lancaster? Why does it matter?
I think that's a good question to make, but at the same time, it's important that it matters to us. It's important that it matters to me, and I wanted to share my experience. And I think just sharing the experience makes it important, because I want to hear other people's stories. I want to know of other places that are like my hometown.
And I say that because I think it's fascinating to be talking to the four of you about a movie like this that has spirit in it.
Yeah.
You each have your own reason, plus you have a group reason for
Certainly.
the love that the four of you have for each other, plus your own personal, need to have done this movie. And I think a lot of times you don't know this about movies. We don't know this about a piece of art. How many times has somebody stared at a piece of art on the wall and wanted to know what the artist was thinking when they did it? So it's fascinating to know, like, this personal thing you have with Lancaster, and, this breaking free kind of thing. You know,
No,
go ahead.
yeah.
Interrupt me. Go ahead.
So sorry.
No, don't be sorry. I love it. Go ahead. I give you
that's-
all permission. Could you hold on a minute? Could
Yeah.
you put up that PowerPoint thing for just a second? Hold on 1 minute.
No
Just
problem.
1 second. I have a message, and I want everybody to hear it. So it says, it's a thing I put up, but I want everybody to know that I give you a ticket to interrupt. And anytime you want to interrupt me or talk about anything here, you are more than welcome to. This is the place you want to come to interrupt me anytime you want. So I
Fantastic.
just put it up and gives everybody permission to do that. So go ahead now, interrupt.
All right. What I was trying to say is I think it was a great point because I have a lot of friends who live here as well, and they're all sort of like, okay, we've been here, we know what it has to offer, but they haven't really been anywhere else, so they're always trying to get somewhere else. And then when I went somewhere else, I realized what it did have to offer, and it is just, it's cyclical. You keep coming back to it, and whether or not I live in Lancaster the rest of my life, I have no idea, but it will always be my home.
And I think that that was a beautiful kind of commentary about how sometimes we tend to live in general. We want to get away from ourselves when we're not even just looking at our own beautifulness and all that we have to offer. And we're just there's always more, right? There's really no more, is there? Right?
Yeah.
So I want to go back. I do want to go to Bianca. Bianca, you're going to be next, but I just want. So Ben. So this is a love story between two people. What? Tell us a little bit about the love story.
Well, it's funny. It's funny that we're throwing around love story because it's not in the classical sense a love story.
Okay.
But,
Well, I guess love isn't either when you go to think about it. So
yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah, tell us about that.
Absolutely. I mean, I love, obsession. These things aren't mutually exclusive, and I think that also, the things that haunt you the most are the things that you care for the most. And I wouldn't say there's an inherent love in this, but I would say that there is this incessant love. It's not inherent, but it's definitely always there.
Okay. Wow, you're going to make everybody want to see it.
That's the idea.
Okay,
I hope
good.
so.
Good. So I want to go to Bianca for a second. And so thank you, Ben. You did great. And remember, you can interrupt me anytime.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So Bianca, you made a point of saying when you first started that this woman that you got to portray, she really, and I'm not saying it exactly how you said it, but it gave me the impression she just was going to do what she wanted to do, right? She had this way, and she was going to do whatever she wanted to do. She was going to do. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, because of her circumstance, she kind of doesn't have to worry about consequences. And I mean, I think I know people like that in life who are so in the moment that they kind of just do what they do and then, let the chips fall where they may. And that really attracted me to her. I'm not generally that type of person. I didn't mention this before. My undergrad is in journalism, and so when I entered this creative world that I'm now really hoping to make a career out of, I had never really acted before in high school and stuff, and I entered the program as a director. So I had directed, I had written, I was a journalist, I wrote for a magazine. But when I read this part, there was something so fearless about her, and being allowed to live in that for however long we filmed and rehearsed before that and getting to know that was really, really exciting. She's not your typical heroine, but she's definitely very, very strong, and she is not not fearless, but in I guess in a way that as fearless as anybody can hope to be. We all have things that scare us, but it's how we deal with it, I guess, that makes us who we are. And Ben said, right, that it's not necessarily a love story, but I think that also depends on what you think of love, right? If you think of love as like pretty and hearts and rainbows, then yeah, definitely it's not that at all. But sometimes love is ugly and not that pretty, and like the word obsession was used, and I think that can go hand in hand, and sometimes you see the worst of people when you love them or when they love you, and I think that George and Rebecca's relationship really explores that, and playing her let me do that.
And so how are you different now?
That is a good question. I think that doing this, I gained a confidence that I didn't know that I needed, to be able to play a part like this and to be in such a vulnerable state with so many other people in the room. Because when you're acting, it's not just the actors who are there, right? There's people behind the camera, there's people doing sound, there's the person who's actually capturing it on film, you have your director, you have so many people in the room, and knowing that they're there all to feed this story and to make it the best that it can be is a very it's a great feeling to have, but it's also a really vulnerable position to be in front of the camera trying to tell it. So I think I learned to trust a lot on this movie, and yeah, it definitely gave me a different kind of confidence that I'm grateful for.
That's great.
That's from them.
Okay, well, you're going to hear me a little bit.
Was it-
Hold on, Anman's got a point.
Hey, Ben,
Yes.
is your speaker real loud, or is it yours, Bianca and Peter?
I don't know.
Both of you, just as you go, just lower your speakers to the point that you can hear comfortably, but without overdriving it.
How's
How's
this?
that?
Okay, go.
So, Peter,
Yeah.
and for you, what was personal about this for you?
Okay. Yeah. So many things. I want to try to narrow it down a little bit. I think mostly the type of characters that I really, really like to dive into are characters that are hindered by addiction or these kind of destructive vices. And in George's case, it's alcoholism. He's kind of trapped in this hotel room alone with his alcoholism and Rebecca, and it really forces you as an actor to not to get too like heady with it or analytical, but to really look at inside this person's mind and body and see what immediately they need in that specific circumstance or scene. And usually the alcohol is such a driving force in it all that it pretty much drives every scene that he's in, which forces George to make decisions or do things that a person wouldn't normally do. And for me, it's important to kind of to put that out there. And I'm not doing a PSA for alcoholism by any stretch of the imagination. But basically, what I'm trying to say is that I think there are a lot of people out there who can relate to relying on certain vices, and it doesn't even have to be alcohol, to get them through difficult situations. And for me, if I can reach out to anybody who's ever been in that situation, then I think it makes me happy, because when I was watching movies growing up, whenever I could relate to a character or a mistake that they made or something that they were doing that I had done, it made me feel like I wasn't alone. And I think that is one of the great benefits of film. You can sit back and watch something and say, I was there, I'm in this right now, or I was involved in this. And I think that George definitely taught me a lot about loss and feeling like, you have no other place to turn, and then trying to figure out what you are going to do when you're actually at the bottom is a pretty eye-opening thing for me. And I didn't expect it to go as deep as it went, but he definitely taught me a lot.
Mm-hmm. I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, so do most movies do that? Is there all this going on behind a lot of movies, that they have these personal connections, and do people, is that how it's normally done, Peter?
I have no idea. I'm sure that there are a lot of movies out there that come from people's personal experiences, and I'm sure there's a lot that don't at all. But I think for me, as a viewer, and everybody will have a different opinion on this. As a viewer and as an actor, I want stories that I can relate to, and I want stories that really hit home, and I want stories that are ugly and gritty and as true to life as possible, and kind of this, for lack of a better comparison, this peeling of an onion, like layered type of story that you don't see, as much as I think that could be. But it's a personal preference, I think. I mean, some people like to go to the movies and forget about their problems, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that in my eyes. To do that, it just serves a different purpose.
Mm-hmm. Well, we need. My personal opinion is we need it all.
Absolutely.
We need it all.
Yeah.
So, did you have anything else to add, Peter?
No, I'm sure I'll think of something along the way.
Okay, so let me just say that to the three of you that have gone your second round. If you have something to add, by all means, after I talk to Chelsea, by all means say, I want to share this, and I'd like to share this, because there's so much going on with this that I want you, because you've been so close to it, whether it's about the movie, whether it's about working together, whatever part of this story we can unravel, it might be, it's just really cool. So just feel free to do that. So Chelsea, I'm not going to ask you anything specific, because you've been listening.
Mm-hmm.
And so you were the director, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now direct. So now you say, what is it what part of this this piece that you want to add?
Sure. Well, I suppose if we're talking, I was thinking as everybody was talking about their personal connections with the story and how that sort of informed their character, how they wanted to tell the story. And of course, some of these were things that I knew, things that we discussed in rehearsal or just one-on-one, because we are all friends. But, there were also a lot of things that I found inspiring even now after it's all over, for the edit desk, which is really where a lot of the magic happens. But of course, I started reflecting on, my personal connection to this story. And for me, what drew me in, and I would say kept me there the whole time, was my personal connection to the character of the trap itself, of the whether that be the place in a larger sense, Lancaster County, the cornfield, the motel room, the relationship. I think it's all cyclical in the sense that that's how I related to it most. Is I'm not from Lancaster County, and so it was interesting when you posed the question why you would care about it if you weren't from there. And it's funny because although I'm not from there, I know what it's like to be avoiding something, chasing something, reaching for something, and sort of feel like you're putting your whole self into it, or avoiding putting your whole self into it, and then finding yourself in the same spot again somehow, no matter what you do, no matter what the next place you go, and you find yourself in the same spot. And whether that's because the town you live in, or a relationship you need to get out of, or a relationship you need to stay in, you just find yourself in the same spot over and over and over again. And I think that that manifests itself through a lot of ways in this story. As I said, through the leading character's relationship, through the deterioration of the leading character in this motel room, through the town itself, through the place itself. And I think in that sense, it does have that larger universal quality, which is also my very personal kind of intimate relationship to the story. So yeah, I mean, for me, that's what drew me to it and kind of continued inspiring me every day. I mean, I slept on set. The set was a motel room, so I was kind of in the trap for the whole 19 days as well, which I drew inspiration from every day within capturing the place and the relationship and every corner of that room. So
was your life.
Yeah, it was my life. I was
So a
living
cold trap. Define a cold trap again.
A cold trap is a tube whose walls are cooled with liquid nitrogen or some other liquid to condense vapors passing through it. And so basically, it condenses gases into liquid. But if the liquid nitrogen is exposed to the air, it will explode.
So if we,
I hope I got that right, Ben.
Well done.
so if we are, if it was so in the movie, what's the relationship between the movie and cold trap?
I think that is for an audience to sort of determine. But what I would say is that it all is confined sort of to this one room and this one place, and we don't know what exactly will happen if it were to be released.
Wow, because that's so true, isn't it? With so many things, we just don't know. I mean, I know what I know, and I think I know what I know, and I could be really sure of what I know, but I really don't know it.
Right,
Yeah.
and also the fear of knowing that it could be devastating. It could
Sure.
blow up.
It could blow up. That's love, right?
Mm-hmm.
Love is just like that. So that was great. So I have some pictures of Lancaster. Chris put together this little PowerPoint. So I'm going to show a few of the slides now. I don't think you can see them, so I'm just going to show them, and then obviously you can go back and listen to this on replay and you can see it yourself. But before I do, I just want to once again invite anybody out there that would like to call in, Nana Sin or anybody. You're welcome to call in at 919-518-9773 or connect with us on Skype if you're anywhere in the world, and you can be. Computers, that's plural, the number 2K voice. So, Amnan, would you mind so this first picture is a typical picture in Lancaster. This is what it looks like. And then the next one is let's see, in demand. Oh, this was your Kickstarter. So you raised 5%.
Actually.
Good, what?
Indiegogo, actually.
Indiegogo, I'm sorry. Indiegogo, and you actually, you asked for 10,000 and you raised 5% more than you're asking, right?
Yeah.
Why was that? What attracted people to this, to want to give money?
Well, you want to go?
No.
I think that, for example, people like Nana Cynthia, to be quite honest, firstly, it starts with the core. Your core support group is going to be better than anybody else's core support group because they are there for you and for you to succeed. And I think that all of us, our families, we are fortunate enough to have families that support us immensely. We couldn't ask for a better support group. So having them kind of start us off and them wanting us to succeed really put us in the right direction. Outside of that, it begins to expand a little bit. So it's kind of like a ripple effect. We get a donor who shares the page, who somebody else sees, who eventually donates. And I think that for me, as someone who really heavily ran the campaign, the quantity of posts, posting at the right time, keeping everybody interested but not being annoying, which I'm sure that we were annoying at some points, and we apologize for that, but we kind of had to do it. And getting people interested in Lancaster, it's such a beautiful community that's very small but very powerful. They take pride in what they do. There's a very strong beating heart in the center of the city, and some of the most beautiful landscape you will ever see, on the outskirts. And I think
that's interrupt quickly too. Yeah. He was speaking about posting and multiple posts, and that's important for sure, quantity of posts. But I think one thing we really found that was extraordinarily helpful was, and why I would say it wasn't annoying necessarily, was we found, I think, really great ways to thank our contributors that also sort of spread the word. One of us in the group had, I think it was Bianca, had an amazing idea to make like thank you videos on Instagram for posting for donating a certain amount. So we would, you know, put it on Instagram, a 15-second video, thanking the person who donated and telling them what it means to us, and then that would then, you know, reach other people to want to look at the project and see what we're about. And so finding ways to reach out that weren't just necessarily, you know, the same post over and over again, but, you know, through other people being really excited about the project.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Chelsea. Keeping it as intimate as possible, you know, not making a sweeping general thank you post, but targeting that individual and thanking them and telling them why we're grateful for them, to have them in our lives and to have them contributing to this project was really important to us. And I think it rubbed off. And that is also, you know, something that Lancaster is also about too. Intimate community we kind of wanted to provide for anyone who's watching.
You know, I'm very impressed because and I don't even know if I could put it into words, and maybe that's just okay, and that's a lesson too, because sometimes you can't put everything into words. It's so profound. It's just yours to experience, and you don't need to explain to anybody. But I am sitting in the hostess seat, so I have to try. So it's interesting because you all have this compassion for each other, which is really, I mean, you filmed in 19 days. Your Indiegogo campaign was up for how long?
6 weeks.
45.
Okay. And you had to do, I mean, how long did this whole project to this very day, which you completed filming on the, 18th and 19th of August, right? Right?
Yeah.
So this is like fresh off of the thing, everybody that's listening. This is like new. This is like less than a week that they have come off of filming. So from this moment back, how long has this project taken?
Oh, well, I guess 3.5 years, I would say, in total. With hiatuses in between. But, you know, it's funny because I joke with Ben a lot, and I would call him up because we ended up moving out of state. I moved to New York City. He was in Philly and then Lancaster, and he would always call me up. He'd say, hey, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. Yeah, we're going to do it. I promise. We're going to do it. I promise. And I kept promising him for months and months, and then thankfully got the team together. But in total, I would say 3.5 years. And the thing is that we are at a halfway point. We had completed filming it, but Chelsea and our DP, they have so much, and the sound guy, editing, post-production. So we're about halfway there. So still another 6 months probably.
So, and I think that's all important information, because part of what I'm want to get across is how this intimate group of 4, 6, however many you were, came together and had this beautiful project that they each had a compassion and respect for each other, but they're coming from their heart, because the same compassion and respect that they have for each other, they're extending to everybody. Their circle has opened up for everybody and anybody who wants to be a part of it. You know, whether it's being a part of Lancaster, coming to see it, whether it's watching the movie, whether it was, you know, donating, whatever it was humble. It was full of humility. And I think that's something to be recognized. And I want to, you know, say that because it's very, very cool to see you doing this. And this is part of, you know, this is a great testament to being free, because this is what happens when you're free. And this is what freedom looks like. Freedom looks like a group of people coming together who can just like be, you know, and share that beingness. So, you know, I want to make a comment about that. It's really great.
Yeah, absolutely. I love personally every single individual that you're talking to right now, and I don't think that the project would be as wonderful an experience, and hopefully the final product, I believe, is going to be stronger for it. I really do believe that.
So let me ask you, Ben, where do you want to take this project? I mean, what do you see for this project? Where do you see it going?
Firstly, I'm just proud that we completed it. Peter was saying, you know, I was, when are we going to do this? Are we going to do this? Because they're all busy and they have a lot of stuff going on. Not to say that I don't have anything else going on, but this was sort of like my chief concern, is that I really wanted to, and for me, this is the first time that my writing will be somewhat widely disseminated. And that's really what's important, is that people just see it and realize that we do have a talented group of people. And hopefully, once they see that, they'll be hooked on us and they'll want to see more from us. That's the idea.
I see. So the four of you or six of you want to stay together and create more projects together because you have such a phenomenal working relationship. Is that what I'm hearing?
I certainly hope so.
That's very cool. So I'm going to ask Amnon to put up the next slide, which is, let's see, a picture of a whole group of you, all of you, working on this movie together. So that's really nice to see all your beautiful faces. And then the next one is a picture of Peter and Bianca in the hotel room, right?
Was that the baseball scene?
No, you're sitting on the floor.
Yeah, that was the baseball scene.
So what does that mean?
Oh, it's just, oh man. Bianca putting up with me doing 19,000 takes because I can't get it.
That's not true.
No,
it's a little true. That's
one of the scenes earlier on in the movie. Chelsea, feel free to chime in at any time.
Yeah, so it's a scene. It is pretty early on in the movie where you sort of get a clue into sort of the some of the issues within their relationship, and also you get to know more about the characters. He just mentioned it's the baseball scene, and that's because he has one of his biggest monologues within this scene that talks about baseball, but also gives us a great introspection into the character and sort of our first clue as to what's going on inside of that room. And Peter mentioned the million takes. It was one of our days with more takes, but it was such a monster of a monologue that that he really ended up nailing at the end, if I may say that, Peter.
I think you may.
Chelsea.
And then the next one I think is must be Chelsea in front of a camera. Is that right, Chelsea, with somebody else? With a gentleman with red glasses.
Yes, that would be me, and our DP. If he's sitting in front of the camera, that would be our DP, Shashwat, director of photography, who I worked with through creating the images of the film and the visual story.
Okay, and then what is the picture with this? I don't know exactly who it is. It could be Peter in a red shirt outside of a car with a beautiful woman.
That's
that
Ben.
That's Ben and Leah.
And Leah, Ben and Leah, and who is Leah?
Leah is actually she has a kind of a cameo role in the movie, we've been calling it, and she is actually my current roommate.
Okay.
I'm sitting in her room as we speak, and she so graciously decided to come on board. She's a professional actress in New York City, and she found out we were doing the project, and I asked if she wanted to come on for this role, and she immediately said yes. I've known her since we were undergrads at UNLV.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, great. I want to say hello to everybody that's listening who is not here at the moment, but has had some part in making this movie and supporting these four magnificent 10. How many of you actually worked on the movie?
Probably about 10.
Probably about 10 to 12.
Okay.
I would say all the other actors included.
It would be 12,
the wonderful sound engineer and musician named Jesse.
Michael
Whoa, one second.
mentioned.
Yeah, you're both talking. So,
sorry.
No, go ahead. So, was that you, Ben, that was just talking?
That was Peter.
Okay, Peter. Go ahead, Peter.
I was just saying probably 12 total, and then
Okay.
I just had to shout out to our sound engineer Jesse Stone, who was relentless with trying to capture. He's also from Montreal, trying to capture this sound, all of the sounds, all of the details. He worked really, really hard trying to capture the best possible sound. I just wanted to shout out to him because he's been mentioned. He hasn't been mentioned yet.
Good.
I would say 12 total with the cast included.
Okay. Good.
Peter, I think you mentioned him as sound guy.
Sound guy?
I switched it to engineer though after.
He's the engineer guy too?
Sound engineer. Sound guy is the informal name. Sound engineer would be the technical name.
Okay. And then Chelsea, what were you saying?
Oh, I was just, I agreed with him on the number 12 if we're including cast and production assistants, and also wanted to give a shout out to an amazing production assistant we had, Michael Texter, who, you know, he came after work, he spent his entire weekend there. He's got a full-time job just because he wanted to, and he felt strongly about working with us and about getting experience, and just worked incredibly hard and was so efficient, so smart, and so much fun to be around.
Cool.
And he is also another Lancaster native. In fact, he was my next door neighbor growing up.
Well, it is all family, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
So, Bianca, I'm going to ask, how old are you?
How old am I?
Yeah.
27.
Peter, how old are you?
I'm 25.
And Chelsea?
26.
And Ben?
26.
Well, you give me chills. Because, I don't even want to say it. Bianca, why do I have chills?
I don't know.
Well, you know, it's really amazing. It's what? It's the AC. I'm not saying it's the AC. No, I think it's because, what does freedom mean? What is being able to, what you're doing is a dream come true. Ben.
Yes.
Your work this is your work. How does this feel to you?
It was a great experience. It was incredible. And as much as it is the words I wrote down, whatever happened in that room was a combination of everybody. It was a total collaborative experience. I mean, it was definitely independent when I sat down and wrote it, but that's why I don't write novels.
So it takes a village. It takes a village, and it takes a family, and it takes friends, and it takes gratitude.
Absolutely, and I've said this like 1,000 times when I'm sitting in there, I hear these words that the actors are saying, and I was like, well, I didn't write that. They must have changed it. And then just because they were doing it so well, I was like, okay, well, I guess I did write pretty well, huh? But it's actually a testament to how well everyone did. I mean, they really brought it to life, and it was a thrill.
So we only have a few minutes left. So let's just go around, and what do you want from this? Is there anything you want this audience to do for you at this point, or what do you need? Anything, Bianca?
Yeah, I mean, our Indiegogo campaign is still open, even though the time has ended, where they offer a feature that we're lucky enough that people can still donate if they want to. And I mean, any contribution helps, because we're going into post-production now, which is also costly in terms of the editing. Editing is half a movie. You know, we can do anything we want in front of the camera, but ultimately, once you get it on the computer and you start splicing and cutting, that's where the real magic happens. So any contributions that go into that would be immensely helpful, and we're hoping really to send this out to film festivals. So to be able to do that, sending it to as many festivals as possible, getting it seen by as many people as possible, and hopefully eventually making another one. So yeah, anyone who would be able or willing to help with that, we would appreciate it.
So I'm going to put up how to support you. We have a slide with that too. So you're very welcome. So it shows the facebook.com/coldtrapmovie !ref equal, just see, everybody just see it. And then twitter.com/thecoldtrap. So just look at this. We'll put it up on Facebook so you all can go back and look at it. If you've missed it, you can go to the Breaking Free show after the show and see it. But Peter, I want to get to all of you, but I also want to say, so is there a theme to the kinds of movies you want to produce? Because you just said that you want to do another movie. So is there something that this group is committed to doing? Is there a theme, Peter?
I think I don't know if I would peg it to one specific theme, other than saying that I think all of our commonalities with the types of movies that we want to make would be that it's near and dear to us. It's real, and it's raw. Ben would always joke with me, he would say that we're indie guys. We like to capture raw things that mean a lot to us, whether it comes in the form of baseball or Lancaster County, or people who are addicted to things or love. They could all be found in different mediums or different places or different stories, but the commonality is something that really, really means something to all of us. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And I just wonder, you hear about musical groups, bands that have been together for years. I wonder if there is a movie troupe, an indie movie troupe, just like yourselves, that have been together for years producing different movies. I don't know. I never heard of it, but it's just curious.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
This is very much a team sport.
Yeah.
Like
always.
Yeah. So definitely a team sport. And if you're lucky enough to find people that you collaborate really well with, I think that you'd have to be crazy to let any of them go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I was on a sales team once, and we felt the same way. We could sell anything. We were the best sales team, and it was magic. So yeah. I do understand. So Chelsea, what's your final words of wisdom here?
Sure. Well, in speaking about the work we want to continue doing and support for us and support for what we're about, other great ways to support are just are sharing our story, whether it be this interview or our Facebook page or whatever it is, just sharing and keeping an eye on what we're doing and the progress we're making, and because this won't be released until it's done being edited. So I guess continuing with us on our journey, we'll be reaching out to you as well. And I guess the last thing I wanted to say was that in terms of the work we'd like to do and the work we're hoping to do and the experience we're hoping you get, I read a lot before I sort of embarked on this journey of directing a film, and I found a great blog where a producer said, one of the things this industry needs is to not focus on the result or the product and give us an experience and a relationship. And I think in terms of the kind of work we want to do and what we hope this is we hope it is an experience. It's experience of a relationship that can make you think of your experiences and relationships. And I think everything we do will sort of encapsulate that. And that's what I have to say about it.
And that's probably the best advice anybody could give anybody and anybody could take in doing anything that we do. It's not about the result. Just give me an experience and a relationship. Beautifully said. I'll remember that for sure. Thank you. And Ben? The man of few words, you get to maybe sum him up.
Oh man, all right.
What do you think?
Well, I think Chelsea just said it best, and I mean I don't know how to say it any better than that, other than that I can't, I was really grateful to have worked with all of them, and you're getting a tiny snippet of just how excellent and smart and intelligent these people are. So we got to experience that for a year, and that was probably one of the most rewarding things about it. We hope it's going to turn out great. We really do, but I think we already achieved something. Yeah, and I honestly, I'm sitting here, like you said, it's like a couple days after, and I'm just ready to go back and make another one.
Good. Well, I'm ready for you to do that, and I want to be part of your troupe. So as you, I want to, and I know Chris did a phenomenal job in helping to put this all together at the last minute, because it was wild putting this together. But I want to say that all along your way, I want you to feel like this is the place you can come to ask, share, update, whatever you want to do along the way. Show us a piece, whatever it is. I think our audience, you were privy today to something, some kind of magic, some history in the making today. And have you all done an interview before like this?
No.
No.
So,
can you tell?
No, not at all. No, and that's going to tell you something about the movie they did. it's never going to look like it's the first. It's always going to look like it just was. It's never going to look like the first. Just like this didn't look like their first interview. I promise. These 12 people are really smart, and they have been given a gift, inspired gift to be able to bring out a message about a place, and about a thing, and about a feeling, and about a group, and about a family, and about love and gratitude and all those things. So I want to thank you all for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
For having us.
Thank you.
My pleasure. And honestly, I really want you to come back and keep us up to date. And I know our audience wants you to do the same thing, and let us know where you are, what you're doing, and however way we can help, we want to. So you're all delicious. So thank you very, very much. Come on our Facebook page and share your updates and let us know what's going on. And with everybody out there, I want to thank you all so very much for being here and sharing this day and this magic with us. Thank you all very much. We'll see you next week. Bye.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. Our weekly lineup of call-in programs includes Computers 2K Now with Amnon Nissan, Health In with Debbie Bruck, Breaking Free with Marilyn Shannon, Lessons of Vietnam with NCVVI members, The Tanya Love Show, Your Healthy Pet with Gisela DiCarlo. And if you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it at www.nissancommunications.com. Sponsored by Atomus.com, makers of quality video recorders and converters for professionals, CarolinaApparel.com, and DeltaForce.net.